Welcome to episode 21 of the LorainCounty.com Business Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon, and today we're talking with Mike Longo, Director of the Lorain County Workforce Development Agency. Join us as Mike talks about the comprehensive services that the Workforce Development Agency provides for both employers and job seekers in Lorain County. Mike explains how the agency supports career development, offers training resources, and collaborates with numerous community partners to meet the workforce needs of our county. Today's topic is especially meaningful to me. During graduate school, my master's thesis was on the economic development impacts of education and training. I strongly believe that investing in education and workforce development is crucial, not only for the individual, but also for the growth and prosperity of our community. Here is my conversation with Mike Longo.
Mike Longo, Director of Lorain County Workforce Development Agency.
Welcome, Mike. Thanks for joining us and sharing your insights. Could you provide an overview of the Lorain County Workforce Development Agency?
Yes, so the Lorain County Workforce Development Agency serves a number of roles, one of them being the provider of career services to adults and dislocated workers accessing employment services through the public workforce system. The agency also serves as the lead to the comprehensive case management and employment program that is geared towards youth between the ages of 15 and 24. And then another key role is that we serve as the operator of the Ohio Means Jobs Lorain County Center. And in that role, we basically coordinate the services of all of the partners of Ohio Means Jobs because it is comprised of many different partner organizations that come together as one to provide services to the employers and job seekers of Lorain County.
Could you talk about the services that are provided for employers and the benefits they receive?
For employers, I think we look at it as being a partnership where we're looking at the relationship developing from infancy through the life of a business and recognizing that we're here to help grow companies, helping with posting jobs, helping to get information out about employment opportunities to all our partners in the community, helping with job fairs, offering space at our center for employers that might need space for interviewing or training. Some of the other elements of what we help businesses with is more training their employees, and that could be new employees that are coming on that qualify for what's known as on-the-job training assistance, or with their existing workforce and accessing incumbent worker training funds through our system. And these are all public workforce dollars, taxpayer dollars at work. Our goal trying to work with these employers is to help with their hiring needs, help with their training needs. And then ultimately, in the event that an employer is downsizing, closing, laying off, we're also there trying to help their employees benefit from the services that we provide and making sure that we get in front of those individuals that could be being impacted so they recognize the value of the services that they could benefit from.
Do you directly provide the training or do you partner with the educational institutes for the training?
On-the-job training, for the most part, is going to be the employer providing the training themselves. This could be hire a new widget maker. The person that you're hiring maybe has never been a widget maker before. You have people among your staff that are actually going to provide that individual with the skills that are required. And in the on-the-job training, the way that we help employers with that particular instance is they're defining the number of hours that somebody needs to be trained. And then we take the rate of pay that they're earning times those number of hours, and we're able to help offset half of that cost with a cap of $10,000, which is pretty significant. Incumbent worker training funds could be where you tap into the local training community, and that could be some of our own local publicly supported institutions, but it could also be vendors that the employers work with. So, for example, an employer could purchase a new machine, and the employees need to be trained on the new machine, and maybe the vendor of the machine is actually providing the training. And this is where our funds could come in to help offset those costs to make it so that the employer, again, doesn't have to put those dollars out on their own.
Could you talk about the services that you provide for workers and the benefits they receive?
We have two sides to our program, one focusing more on youth, and these are youth who are between the ages of 15 and 24. One of the key elements that many of the youth benefit from is paid work experience, where If they're eligible for our program, we're developing work sites throughout the county. Our program provides for the pay and all of the other benefits that are required for them to be employed through the program. Host sites provide the work and the supervision. Our agency puts out the monies to help pay for it. We also have access to tutors through our program. So if a young person needs tutoring, and that could be for high school, it could be for college, it could be preparing for an ACT exam. On the adult side of the house, we have different programming. Anybody 18 and older who's eligible to work in the United States could qualify for our adult programming. And our adult program, as well as our youth programming for those that could benefit, also provides access to training resources, helping people who might be going for some form of training. And it's for training that's in any in-demand job that's identified by the state of Ohio. Our training resources allow us to help with up to $10,000 for a one-year program, $20,000 for a two-year program. We also offer job readiness training, helping people be better prepared for employment, for reemployment. We work with folks who are dislocated workers who are getting laid off. And if you could think of somebody maybe that's been working for 15, 20 years and hasn't applied for a job in quite some time, trying to help them understand the resumes of today, the approaches to answering interview questions to today, the approaches to dealing with how resumes are screened today, understanding tools to be successful in negotiating a salary, helping them understand how to use social media in a job search. Pretty much you name it, we're trying to make sure that people are very well informed as they try to become reemployed.
Could you talk about the value that the Lorain County Workforce Development Agency creates that accrues beyond the employers and workers that you directly service? What is the county, the community, and residents, how do they benefit from the work that you do?
I think if you think about the relationships that we try to develop with not only the employers and the job seekers, but with many of the community organizations, we work very well with Lorain County Community College, with Lorain County Joint Vocational School, with the Chamber of Commerce, with the county's community and economic development, with many of the economic development folks in the municipalities and townships, the Community Foundation, El Centro, Urban League. We partner and we are collaborating with as many entities in the community as possible so that when you think about the needs of employers and how they present those needs, we're making sure that many of those organizations that we work with are being informed about the opportunities and working together to help overcome whatever the challenges are that the employer has.
How do you define success at the Workforce Development Agency? What metrics do you use to measure your progress toward your objectives?
Our federal performance measures that are monitored by the state of Ohio and by the Department of Labor look at the individuals that we enroll into our system. And for those individuals that we do fund for occupational skill training, how many of them end up successfully completing and earning an industry recognized credential. But the more important factors that are monitored are the people that are exited from our system that are found in the wage record system who are employed. And not only just seeing that they are found in the wage record data system, but looking quarters out and seeing that they're still in the wage record system and looking at if they're still enrolled with the same employer, that's deemed being successful. We do pretty well at meeting those standards, but also just the success in a sense of getting the feedback from the customers and knowing that we're providing good services and meeting their needs.
Going forward, what trends do you see in the county for employers and for workers, and what is the Workforce Development Agency doing to adapt to these changes?
Yeah, so I think probably something that is very well known at all levels is the fact that while we have great opportunities with employment today, the state of Ohio, as well as the nation, are faced with the fact that we have a lot less job seekers that are available. And while we can't create job seekers, trying to tap into populations that really haven't been considered in the past and trying to recognize that employers need to think about being flexible in today's climate and recognizing it's better to have somebody come to work 20 hours a week, 25 hours a week, if that's what they're available, compared to zero.
Let's switch over and talk a little bit about you. What is your background and what led you to the Lorain County Workforce Development Agency?
I've lived in Lorain County now for about 17 years. My wife and I have 7 children, moved to North Ridgeville When we busted the seams of our house in Lakewood, that's pretty much what brought us to Lorain County. My past and my work career experience, I started with human services in Cuyahoga County back in the late 80s, 1990, and worked in human services for a number of years before I made the transfer over to the public workforce system in Cuyahoga County. And just tasks and duties continued to grow and responsibilities. I applied for a job in Lorain County as the manager of the Ohio Means Job Center back then, called the Employment Network, and successfully landed that opportunity. And after a couple years of serving in the role of the manager, the director job for the Workforce Development Agency opened up, and here I am many years later. And it's amazing how fast the time goes by.
In your time as director of the Workforce Development Agency, what are you most proud of accomplishing?
I would probably say that it's developing the team. And while we have players that have come and gone, none of what we do could be done without the dedication and commitment from the staff that are involved in our system. And a lot of times they don't get the recognition. While we do what we do, a lot of folks access our system, benefit from resources we provide, but don't necessarily say anything from it. In a lot of instances, they go find a job after they've successfully completed something and don't even tell us they found a job. I think the people that do work here value what they do, and we have a great team that I think has developed over the years, and I'm proud to be part of the team and try to make sure the staff are aware of that.
Going forward, what are your personal goals? What do you still hope to accomplish?
Yeah, so I could give you the history that I've been here for 30-something years, and I have to say I love what I do. It's not work when you love what you do. And while I have 7 children, I don't know if retirement is ever something that's a term in my vocabulary that can be used per se, but there will be a day when obviously I leave. But my goal is to continue to do well, and recognizing there's always room for improvement. There's always room for new partnerships. There's always new grant opportunities. There's so much that could be done. And again, when you come to work day in and day out and you enjoy what you do, it's not a challenge. It's an experience.
Outside of work, what are your hobbies and interests, and how do they help recharge you?
Interesting. I don't know. Hobbies, when you have 7 children, tend to disappear. I used to golf a lot more. I don't think I've golfed in the last few years. And when you think about responsibilities and children and band concerts and choir concerts and this sport and that sport, you tend to lose that time that tends to be of value to you. My wife and I, now that the kids are growing and most of them out of the house, we like to explore. We like to antique, at least walk through antique stores. We like to go to craft breweries all over the state. When we go visit different states, we look for craft breweries and explore different beers. And now's the time in life where, as again, the kids are older, we want to just get out, explore, go to places we might have not been able to go to over the years, and enjoy some of the time together on our own.
Finally, where can people get additional information on the Lorain County Workforce Development Agency?
You can go to the Lorain County website and look for the Workforce Development Agency under the agencies of the Board of County Commissioners. There's information on that site that is specific to the services that are offered through Ohio Means Jobs. There's also information on there related to some of our programs and policies that we've talked about today, as well as information on our workforce board, who the members of our board are, that commit their time and volunteer to helping to oversee the operation. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank them for their efforts as well, because they are businesses and people from organizations that volunteer their time to help with our system.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for your time and for sharing your insights.
Absolutely, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the LorainCounty.com Business Insights Podcast. We hope you found this conversation informative and that it provided some ideas that will help your business continue to grow. Please follow us on your favorite podcast platform to hear each episode, where we shine a spotlight on local resources that will boost your business. And we want to hear from you. Email ed@loraincounty.com to share your feedback and topic ideas.